So you've heard about assignment selling from us here at Impact, which is assigning content to your prospect at different stages in the buyer's journey to help them move through it more smoothly, quickly, and in an educated way. But maybe you're not exactly sure what your buyer's journey is, or where you need to start, or what type of content to use in that buyer's journey. Here recently at our show at Impact, we had Ange Bourgeois come and walk us through what exactly it looks like to kind of map out that buyer's journey and then plan for what pieces of content you can use for assignment selling within that journey. He lays it out in a great visual way that makes it super simple to understand and really easy to implement. Let's dive into it.
So we haven't done this on the show, and I want to get more into this. Could you walk me through a role play? Is there an exercise that we could do in real time? Because I feel like it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to let's show the people what's up. Can you walk me through? And I'm curious too, because I've never really done this type of thing before. I want to see what it's like. So do you have an exercise we can run through together?
I do. What company do you want to be?
Well, so I'm a video professional by trade. That's where my background I came out of. So let's say I own a video production company and I'm trying to scale my wedding video business. Help me out. What do I do?
Wedding video business. Okay, so what I would do right now.
Sure.
Am I allowed to share my screen and we could?
Heck yeah. Let's do it.
Do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So video production company for weddings. Perfect. So people normally come to you through the website. Is that right?
Yes. It's either website or referral. But we have a contact form on our website, so we try to have everyone fill out that contact form. That's the goal.
Cool. So I'll put website referral or call because someone may call in as well. And that call spot is where we would have, again, hopefully, if you're using HubSpot or some sort of CRM, you could have some sort of internal call form that the person that's answering the phone would fill out to log, that's the entry point into the sales process.
Okay.
And
that would be connected ideally to a CRM or something that can track that data.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So then what's the next step? Do they come in for an appointment? What does that look like?
So typically we do some type of outreach. And in that outreach, it's like a discovery sort of call where we try to figure out what their goals are, what their needs are for their video project, get the details for their wedding so we can scope it out basically and give them a proposal.
Discovery and scoping call. Now, if you're listening earlier, you would say, ooh, careful with the scoping at the beginning, right? This is where people oftentimes miss. Okay, so then after that, what's next?
Then after the call, we put a proposal together, and at the end of the call, usually we give them some type of timeline, hey, within X amount of days, you'll have a proposal from us that you can review and either sign or we can adjust accordingly until you're happy.
Okay. And then after that, what happens?
Then, if they like the proposal or once we reach an agreement, then we sign contracts, send some type of agreement to say that we're moving forward, and then we take a deposit. And typically the deposit's somewhere between 25 and 50% to lock in and secure the dates, basically, for filming.
Okay. So I might actually, because I'm going to try to condense this for you to make your life easier. I would have contracts plus deposit right here.
Okay, so and put it all right into that one section.
Yeah. So within the proposal review, we would review it together. We would look at the contract. We would sign it. They would give a deposit, and we would make sure that they understand that, because here, what to expect. We're assignment selling this, which is going to outline what the rest of the process looks like.
That's already, okay. You're blowing my mind already, because I feel like you just removed an entire step and meeting and follow up. So that's already more efficient. Cool.
Yeah. Right. Why would we spend more time meeting if we could just put a piece of content right here that we
That's a great question.
set up through assignment selling to get them to read?
That's a great question. That's why I'm talking to you, Ange. That's it, man.
That's right.
Yeah, we're making it easier. Let's go.
So then I would imagine after this, it's like a what obviously you have like the wedding,
Right. Yeah. So once
right?
they
Is
once they
there
sign,
anything else?
yeah, once they sign, typically the next steps, so like in between, is we start to get more details. So we get an idea of like the wedding party, who needs to be filmed, if grandma and grandpa want to say anything, if they want speeches. We try to like get into more of like the actual day of and the style of what we're trying to capture. So more of a creative meeting about like what kind of music do you want? What's it going to look like? What's the feel going to be? And then obviously if they have any inspiration that they want to share with us, we'll take a look at that as well, just to make sure that we're aligned.
Perfect. Let me space this out a little bit so that I can get them a little bit more like that. Okay. Awesome, dude. Okay. Alex's video production wedding company. Hopefully you'd have a cooler name than that. But either way, this will be a great sales process.
We'll work on the name. Let's get the process dialed in, and then yeah.
So this is really smooth, right? And you can see how this would mirror and match like a deals board in HubSpot. So, and this is something that I've thought about a lot too. The meetings don't necessarily always mirror like the pipeline stage or the deal stage.
Okay.
Because, right, like you could, this makes more sense in more complicated deals, but you don't always want, you don't always want the meetings to be the deal stage because people can move through decision making processes really quickly or really slowly.
Gotcha.
So you want the deals board, the different stages to reflect where we're at in the decision making process, which could mean that you spend an extra discovery call or whatever, right? So it's not always like meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3. It can go faster, it can go slower, but you have to make sure that all those decisions are being made in the right order.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. So we're going to do a what to expect for the whole process right here. So this is going to be a guide about, or it could be like an 80% video, which is answering the 80% of the most common questions. I might actually change it to that. Let's go ahead and do that. So
that makes
80%
sense,
video.
though. That makes sense though, because it plays into what we were talking about earlier with the assignment selling piece of education and trying to get them to go from being intrigued to educating them on 80% of the questions that they have. So when we do have that discovery call, we can have a much more pointed and meaningful conversation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Get all the questions that they're going to ask you in the meeting out of the way so that then you can get into what do they want. Right. Sense. That's really what this is about. So then I would say probably an article right here on what to expect at a proposal review. And this is this right. We could play around with what the right naming structure would be here.
Sure.
But I would really set up what something that has to be in here is like talking about cost. Because again, right, just like we were talking about earlier, there's a cost for what this is gonna talk about, but we know cost right away. We don't know value. We don't know what's included. We don't know what's inside. And so making sure that we set up this conversation for the proposal review to be able to have a value-based conversation rather than a cost-based conversation is really, really, really critical. And we need to set that frame here with this piece of assignment selling content.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And that's typically where we have issues, or if we were, we get into the weeds of the wedding conversations, it turns into how many cameras, how many people, how long, because those affect ultimately they affect the price and the outcomes, right? So we need to know those things and identify them before we can give an accurate quote and provide the value that we need to.
So this is what I would have for you, right? So someone calls in, awesome. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. What are you looking for? Great. Sure. I put that into a form. Then I say, awesome. You know what, Alex? This is a really big decision for you because, hopefully you're only going to get married once, right? And there are going to be moments that happen that will only happen once. And I know that you don't want those moments to be missed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a video that has 80% of the questions that you probably have, it's going to have the answer to all of those. Okay. It is going to help you understand what to look for when choosing a video production company for your wedding. It's going to help you to understand the most common mistakes to avoid, and maybe some horror stories of some people that we know that have tried to get a good wedding production company, but didn't work out. And it's going to take about 10 minutes to watch this video, but I promise it's going to save you hours of time researching all this stuff, plus years of regret if you were to make the wrong decision. So, Alex, with that being said, will you commit to watching this video before we have our call set up on Tuesday?
Yeah, absolutely, Ange. That sounds great.
Great. Now, here's the cool thing too. Check this out. If this is booked through the website, you can automate this part. Okay.
Right.
So,
because that video
like,
is
if
already,
you look on our website,
that's a pre-made video technically, because like you already know those 80% questions, so that's already in the can, as we would say in the film world, where you can just have it staged and ready to go, so you can just pull the trigger.
exactly.
Okay.
And so this is where really understanding the entry points into the sales process is really critical, because if someone calls, it's going to be different than if someone books through the website. Now, hopefully, if you have a good call booking thing on your website, like for us, I really like how our flow is set up. There's a landing page video, there's a form. Once you click on submit the form, it takes you to a meeting page. Then on the meeting link, you can select the time that we're going to have this Zoom call. Mm-hmm. And then after you press submit, now we don't have like an 80% video or anything, but for this wedding company, I would absolutely have that right here. So you grab their contact info, you have them then book a meeting. And then if they don't book a meeting, you have a workflow set up to send them a reminder to book a meeting, or you send them a manual email, right? Systematizing versus automating. And then after they book the meeting, it redirects them to a landing page, and it says, hey, before you click away from this page, watch this video. This is super important, and it's going to answer 80% of the questions that you have before our first meeting. It's about 10 minutes, but I promise it's worth it. It's going to save us so much time in our meeting answering all this stuff.
That all makes sense. Yeah. Very cool.
So that's what it would look like for you. Then you get into your discovery call, send them this, what to expect at a proposal meeting.
I like the back and forth that you made too. The way this is very clearly, like, I love how easy this is. It's like, here's where it starts. Here's what happens. Here's the reaction. Here's the next step. Here's what you need to do. And it just like, it's very clearly defined. And obviously there's going to be variations to each deal and to each conversation, but to have this very clearly mapped out gives you such an easy roadmap. Like it's very, I would imagine it'd be hard to deviate from this or to like not know what stage you're at. It just cleans it up in a very pointed way.
Hopefully that demonstration gave you a good place to start on where to implement assignment selling into your buyer's journey. Does your business need help with your sales process and implementing something like assignment selling? Contact us at impactplus.com today to get started working with a coach just like Ange.